What's up, Starcraft fans? I've been seeing a lot of you guys try to go for Zagara on aggressive recruitment. It is actually good. It's a relatively straightforward strategy with a clear and definite role, and I'm here to provide you some more tips to help you perform better as Zagara. So thank you to Neo Metal and shout out our convos here, and thank you to all my supporters on Patreon. Now, the first thing I want to look at is the masteries. For this particular mutation, you'll want to do Zagara life and energy regen, because Zagara's power comes from her abilities. The Hunter Killers and Baneling Barrages will help you burst down the enemies, which will provide more value for you and your ally. And next, you'll want to have Baneling attack damage instead of Zergling evasion. For this particular mutation, you want to have only Banelings. Zerglings will just add more risk of Propagators, so you'll want to focus all your power on Banelings. Just Banelings and more Banelings. No Zerglings. An Intensified Frenzy, it's useful for buffing not just yourself, but also your ally. Your ally's role will be to be the primary pusher on this map. Your ally will need to clear out the towers, the enemy waves, the bases. So what you want to do is support him with Frenzy so that his army will be much more effective. Roach damage in life, it's not that important. You can still use Roach Drop, but you'll want to conserve it if you want to help push or help defend an attack wave. But you'll also want to be careful that you don't drop them right as the Propagators spawn. So let's now go to the example game. Okay, now for the build order. It's a pretty tight build order, but the concept is you have to rush the Lair for an Overseer and the Baneling Nest. So what I do is I rush this Extractor at 9 supply, and then go to 11 supply, and then once I reach 200 minerals, spawning pool, and then I start another set of drones, and then start the Extractor. If you're not confident, you can just start an Extractor before the drones, that's also fine. And then once the spawning pool is complete, I immediately start my Baneling Nest and rally them near this ramp. You can see I have this overloading position that will help out in by being the detector against the Propagators. Now, Lair starting. The benchmark here is you want to start your Lair around 2 minutes and 10 seconds. As long as you start around that time, you should be safe against most Propagator spawns. So let's see that complete. I make a precautionary Spark Crawler here, but it's not needed. It's just in case. So you see the Lair has completed. Now my Overseer is now producing. So once the Propagator spawns at 2 minutes and 28 seconds, this Overseer will be available. And you can see I did not produce any Zerglings manually. A lot of people I see still produce Zerglings since they think they'll need a ton of Banelings for the attack or for the first Propagator. You don't. All you need are the Banelings from the auto rally from the Baneling Nest. Of course, enough supply. You still need to make an Overlord. Once that's done, you will be able to hold the first Propagators. So what I do after that is I rally my Baneling Nest to this spot over here. I rally my Baneling Nest here. You can see the dotted line just heading beelining straight here. And then what I do is siege this Overseer up in this spot. This spot is safe from Propagators. This is why I don't need to fear this Overseer going down because it's pathable terrain. The Propagators just try to go for my Banelings. But in case it even thinks of going from Overseer, it can't because it's over impathable terrain. So now I clear out this space over here because it's enemy buildings, and I get Heroic Fortitude to help Zagara survive. But what I want to do next is rally this Overseer, have this follow Zagara, so Zagara will be able to help push an offense. You can see it's just following Zagara. And I want to get Baneling upgrades. The most important one is this Baneling attack, the most important one will be the Baneling attack damage, which will help you deal with the Propagators. It will make you require fewer Banelings for that target. You can see it is important. I use the Hunter Killers to help my ally push, and I use Mass Frenzy. The Mass Frenzy benefits not only you, your Zagara, it also benefits your Hunter Killers and your ally. This is key. Even if Zagara is no longer able to help push later on, which he still should, Zagara should be able to help push until the very end. But in case you can't, you can still benefit your ally by using your Mass Frenzy whenever your ally needs it. Just help push here. Then I will go for this north base, try to clear out the buildings here. While my ally defensive attacking, you can see Helen spawn, but my buildings should still be more than enough to take care of those. Now, and just getting these upgrades for Zagara with the rupture. The rupture is helpful for poop trains. If your ally loses a bunch of his army and sends about 50 or so Propagators your way, not maybe 20 Propagators or so your way, your banelings will have additional splash damage, which will help deal more damage at the same time to Propagators to help require fewer banelings overall to deal with them. Again, the guard offense, just use a bailing barrage here. Once the overseer gets here, you will be able to attack the enemies. And I just use my hunter killers to help take out this base. Using the bailing barrage there. Siege up this overseer here temporarily. You can see the enemies, but once you can't see them, just burst them down. Ally, on the other hand, is still fighting this attack wave. That is his primary role. Your ally's primary role is to clear out the whole map without having to worry about Propagators. Your role is Zagara. Just rally banelings here to the front. Just keep rallying. If there's a poop turret approaching, you'll want to have... Only then will you need to make additional Zerglings to morph into banelings. You don't want to make any additional army other than banelings and Scourge, because you just want to rally them in and give no chance for the enemies to turn the Propagators. You can see as Zagara, I definitely want to help push these enemy bases to make life easier for my ally. He should be able to handle this on his own, but in case you have an ally who is still building up in the early, for example, Rainer will want to build up in the early game. You as Zagara will have to help push into the enemy bases. Another thing I see is some people want to start this bonus to help it, or want to start this bonus and then let it die, under the assumption that the Propagators can't spawn from here. They cannot. You'll want to attack this area to clear out the actual enemy builds, such as that factory, that bunker, the turret here earlier on. But you don't need to start the bonus, since no Propagators will spawn here. It's unnecessary. Also, I've seen a game where it seems that the Propagators will be drawn to this bonus if you start it. So yeah, I definitely don't recommend going for this bonus right here. Also, what we're doing is we're letting this suppression tower live, while we just help push the objectives. The concept here is that this suppression tower will slowly damage Arana's transport continuously until this thing is destroyed. But once Arana's transport gets to the terminal, she will heal herself for 5,000 health. So in theory, as long as Arana's transport finishes the terminal and she gets in here and she has at least 3,000 health, she will regen 5,000 and go back to full 8,000. So it's basically 3,000 plus 5,000 is 8,000, which is her total health. So yeah, you wanna let this tank damage until it gets to 3,000 health, about 3,000 health, and then destroy the tower to allow the transport to fully regen. For the meantime, you wanna use that extra time, help clear the enemies here. Just use bailing barrage. Just use hunter killer spots whenever applicable, and whenever it benefits you and your ally, and you have enough energy for it, use mass frenzy. I see Jip and overseer here. You can see I'm researching overload speed just to help my overseers get to position faster. You can see I made extra overlords. I will siege them up again off the cliffs, off these cliffs here, so that they'll be able to help provide detection for me and my ally. You see I zoom out here, the overseers are approaching. You can see that the overlord speed has finished. That will allow me to jump these overseers here in good spots as I use my roach drop. You can use the roach drop if you're confident that you've thinned out the base enough that the chances of a Propagator spawning here are very remote. Also, you want to have a bit of allowance before they spawn. The Propagators from 10 minutes to 20 minutes spawn at around the 28-second mark. So if you spawn around 10 minutes and 50 seconds, you should be safe for another 38 seconds, which will help you do a lot of damage and thin out the roach drop in case the Propagator does spawn here. You see some of my roaches going down, which is fine because that's just less risk of getting propagated later on in this correct building. You can see by the time the propagator spawns, the entire cooldown is gone. It's been used up. It has provided its value, and yeah, it will no longer pose a risk of being propagated.
Mass frenzy is ready.
So yeah, I just attack here. I see jump this overseer in this spot here. Ally clears out this space using the Odin, and just keep being aggressive. Just keep being aggressive as Zagara. You can see if you're not confident in your abilities, by all means stay in this area. You don't need to get your expansion because number one, you don't need to make that many more banelings. Just the rally from the bailing nest will be enough to take care of most propagators. Another thing is that if there's a building here, it poses a little bit of unnecessary risk that the propagators will bypass your defenses and path instead to this area. You don't want that, and you don't need that. Which is why I've opted to just rally banelings straight from the bailing nest, stay on one base, and if I need to make extra banelings, for example, if a poop train is approaching, if an attack is approaching, that's when I make the extra banelings. But other than that, all rally should be fine. And again, as Zagara, be as aggressive in helping out your ally as possible. He will appreciate it. I use the Bailing Barrage here to clear out the attack wave. Just use the Hunter Curse to clear out the rest. Enable your ally to clear out the suppression tower very cleanly without having to go back and help defend. Again, just help your ally. He wants to push up this cliff. He wants to push up this high ground, so I just support him. I will have these top bars ready. Or these ability, yeah. So I spawn the Hunter Killers here to help burst down this hybrid behemoth and help burst down this army. See, they're soaking up some of the damage, which will again help my ally survive. All this time, these banelings are just here sitting, providing you and your ally safety, allowing you and your ally to push aggressively towards the enemy. And just clear out these buildings here. Again, I use the Hunter Killers. Just use your abilities actively as Zagara, which is where the Zagara life and energy regen come in extremely handy. See these Hunter Killers tanking some shots, a lot of shots actually, from the enemies. Just kill them out. Just help your ally so that he'll have a much easier time later on. Down the line, at about the 20-minute mark, the propagators will start spawning every 50 seconds, and they'll spawn in groups of 5. So this is when I need to make an extra hatchery. Again, just another hatchery in your main base. You don't need to take this expansion because, again, it's unnecessary risk. So once you get to the last base, there's a greater risk of poop trains. That's why I made this hatchery, so I can rally Zerglings here to morph into banelings. You don't want them to fight as Zerglings, you want them to fight as banelings. Just remember that. Zagara is still pushing here, trying to provide as much value as possible, clearing the way from my ally to do much more of the main objective. And again, later on, you'll have these overseers. You remember, I placed these overseers at the 3rd terminal earlier, so now I want to move them over to this high ground area because the poops don't path here, and it's high ground. So the overseers will have a great vantage point from here, to help track the propagators as they move across. See, I see just up over here. Okay, over here, it will provide vision over here for the attack waves, which will help my ally clear them. This one is in a good position, but it's getting targeted by the Raven, so it's not gonna last long. This other one though will provide vision of the propagators pathing through here. Yeah, you can see banelings pretty good versus propagators, and they are able to hold that position very nicely. Okay, so here's the last situation. You can see that Zagara died. She respawned back in the base, and she's kind of too far away to help. My ally has a liberator spot over them. He's trying to take out this tower, but it's in the middle of a very entrenched position. But what Zagara has is the roach drop. So what you have to do, Zagara, is be mindful of what your ally is trying to do, and if he's trying to push up this high ground, support him with the roach drop. Just right click, or just control click all your roaches, and just right click on this tower to help your ally burst it down. While again, your banelings still are holding that position. Then after that, just pull your roaches back so that they'll have a lower risk of attracting the propagators. Yeah, there's propagators one there, but these roaches are in a safe spot, so they are able to time out without creating additional propagators. And if it so happens that you don't have roach drop ready, Again, Mass Frenzy coming through. This is where Intensified Frenzy really shows its worth. You will be able to boost your ally. You can see Tychus, Sam, Nux, they all have the Frenzy icon over here, which means they're shooting faster. Even Rattlesnake, yeah, they're all shooting faster, and they will all bring down this tower much more easily, and just transport the final objective, defend it before the last wave arrives, and let's just fast forward this. There we go, victory, and this is all thanks to, of course, your ally. Your ally was the primary person who was pushing, but he will not be able to confidently push out and clear this map without Zagara's Banelings defense and without Zagara's Zagara offense. So again, I hope that was helpful. If you need to, just rewatch the video. Just learn all the points there. I will be streaming the Mutation tomorrow, 4 a.m. in Manila, Friday 4 a.m. in Manila, up to Sunday. So 3 days of streaming. If you need help in the Mutation, I will be able to help you. If you play as Zagara, as long as you do, it's a relatively simple concept. Just rally Banelings to the entrance to your allies' expansion, try to help out with a hero, and have detection following Zagara. That's all you need to do. If you're able to do that, I'm confident in my ability to help you get the bounty for this Mutation. Alright, see you.